Ladies and gentlemen, today is a different thing. I was looking for one of these. I looked up a ring tier list, and I found a couple primarily made for PvP, and I never found a single video ranking the Dark Souls 3 rings. So, I'm gonna make it. Here it is. And I'm not planning to do a tier list here today. I'm going to try to take into account the ring's location, its abilities. Obviously, this list is heavily my opinion, but I'm trying to be as objective as possible. That being said, if you don't like any of the statements I say in this video, it's fine. You can make your own tier list with blackjack and hookers. It'll probably be even better than mine. Now, if you're newer to Dark Souls games or Soulsborne games in general, rings are little items that you can equip. You can equip up to 4 at a time, and they give you slightly different passive effects. Increasing your damage at certain times, or increasing your resistances to a certain status effect. If you've played Elden Ring, it's your talismans, or your Carol runes in Bloodborne. Hell, you could even count your badges in Lies of P. They're just little passive effects that constantly affect your character and can massively change your build. So, let's get right into the rankings, shall we? Now, if you played Dark Souls 3 before, this should not come as a surprise, but coming in dead last is the Calamity Ring. This ring is obtainable only in the ass end of the game. You have to beat the Ancient Wyvern to even get to it. And its only effect is you take double damage from all sources. It just takes 100 away from every single absorption you have, which makes even common enemies horrifically scary because they do your entire health bar worth of damage in one hit. If you wear this ring, you're cooler than me, and I'm 100% okay with that. Sort of the same for this ring. Number 70, the Skull Ring. You can get this ring as soon as you get into Firelink, just by killing Ludleth. Though again, it's a completely negative effect. It just increases enemy detection range. Essentially, enemies see you from further away and enter their combat aggroed state from further away. Enemy detection range, honestly, for a lot of enemies, isn't that high in this game. So it's not even the worst detrimental effect you can have, but it does take up a ring slot for a completely negative effect, so it's gonna bottom out the leaderboard. Cosmetic Ring Lightning Round. Number 69, the Untrue Dark Ring. Both this and its white counterpart can be bought from Yuria, and its only effect is making you look completely unhollowed no matter how hollowed you are. You look normal. The Untrue White Ring, however, makes you look like a spooky ghost. Ooh! I guess if you're getting invaded and want to throw off the invader, throw away one of your rings. You don't even change colors based on your covenant. It's stupid. Number 67, the Reversal Ring. This ring has one effect, and it's almost less noticeable than the other two. It doesn't change your character's gender. If you wear the Reversal Ring, your character performs the animations of the opposite gender. In Dark Souls, males and females have different animations for doing things, and this just flips it. So, I mean, if you want to do female animations past the point in the game when you can change your sex, it's higher than the other two because of trans rights, I guess. Strange. It seems like the left never wants to talk about trans wrong. Okay, it is a carryover from a game where durability mattered a lot more. That doesn't give it an excuse to exist and only be obtainable in the latest fucking game possible, in a game where durability is a fucking afterthought. I am running around with the Woodgrain ring on and using Storm Ruler. This weapon has 10 durability, and I have already lost one of it. Sure, this is a lot more efficient than just using Storm Ruler, but that's the only fucking time you're ever going to get use out of Woodgrain Ring. And when the fuck are you using Storm Ruler as a normal weapon? Alright, number 65, Flynn's Ring. This one's not great. Flynn's Ring gives you a damage bonus that diminishes the closer or the farther away you are from 0% equip load. So you can never get the full damage boost because Flynn's Ring weighs about a pound. And if you don't want to be naked and still carry a weapon, I am wearing some of the lightest armor in the game and using the Thief's Dagger. I only have a damage boost of 15. 15, goddammit! Sure, it exists. I guess I could also just hit RB one more fucking time. Alright, number 64, the Concealing Ring. And you may go, hey, Price, this isn't Dark Souls 3. Yeah, I'm well aware. You see, I'm not ashamed to admit I'm not a big PvP or Covenants guy. I don't have the Concealing Ring. It requires you to give 10 Pale Tongues to Rosaria. And even though I thought I could just go to YouTube and, find some footage of the ring being used, there is none. There is none. So you're just gonna have to trust me here or get it yourself. The ring decreases enemy detection range, which we already said is not that big of a deal, and makes it so that PvP invaders can't see you until you're close enough. Okay, so there are 3 Ulasil spells that I think already have effects very, very similar to that. So unless you're going for a weird sneaky ninja build, this ring is kind of garbage. Alongside that weird ninja build is number 63, the Slumbering Dragon Crest Ring. This makes your movement entirely silent, whether you're running or walking, whatever. You make absolutely no noise. Now my only issue with this, there is a spell available very, very early on in the game called Spook, and you can get it from Orbeck, who you also get this ring from. I'm pretty sure you need to buy Spook from Orbeck to get this ring anyways. Why use a ring slot when you can use a spell slot? Number 62, the Speckled Stoneplate Ring. Now the Stoneplate rings are all kind of in the same area because they all boost your resistance to a certain type of elemental damage. This boosts all of them by a very, very small margin. It's also found in a hidden area in the upper level of the Smoldering Lake. You might not find this piece of trash, and even if you do, what is it useful for? When's the last time you encountered more than 2 elements at the same time? You typically don't, and the bonuses are middling anyway. It's really bad. Number 61, the Blue Tearstone Ring. Now, I am very hard-pressed to find a real use for this ring. It is given to you very, very early on. It's hard to miss, but its effect is whenever you go under 20% HP, your damage resistance across the board is almost double. That's a lot, but you're gonna get 2-shot. I guess it might give you a little bit more time to pop a flask, or it synergizes well with its cooler brother, but I'm not really sure. Number 60, the Horsehoof Ring. You get this bitch by killing Patches, which I like to do every playthrough. Or I guess you could let him live and buy it off him for 500 souls, but that's the stupider option. Anyways, it enhances your kicks, it makes him do more stamina damage against blockers, and your kicks hit unshielded enemies like a goddamn truck. But, I think most of us kick on accident. If you're really looking out there for, throwing away shields in PvP, there's better options out there for you. But I cannot deny the fact that this is probably the funniest ring in the game. Number 59, the Night Slayer's Ring is kinda what I was talking about for better options. You get it from either killing Invader Night Slayer Sorig or the real guy, which can be a bit of a chore. And the ring sees very little use in PvE. Unless you're using a bigger weapon, I don't know if hitting shields out of enemies' ways is a really good strategy for you, but I could definitely see the appeal in PvP. I don't play it. Number 58, the Hawk Ring. To get this, the giant on the tower needs to die, and I can never take that. Especially to a marginal increase to bow range. I don't like bows, man. I guess it also increases binocular zoom. Alright, Aldrich's Sapphire is really bad. 15 FP is almost nothing at any point in the game. And you have to get parries or backstabs to get at it, and it's really ineffective for recovering FP. Just put on a fucking simple weapon. Number 56, the Wolf Ring. Alright, now hear me out. The poise bonus is nice, but for a bonus that you can get by changing around your armor, you shouldn't have to get 30 successful invasions in fucking Farron Keep. Number 55, the Poison Bite Ring. Now, 90 poison resistance is certainly something, but it doesn't increase your toxic resistance, which is much more dangerous. And despite the fact that Shreed is the same stat, the main reason why it's so low, you find it in the Cathedral of the Deep. Now, there's a decent chance at that point, you're past Farron Keep, and Farron Keep is really the only place that poison and not toxic is your main issue. Number 54, Lloyd's Shield Ring. Lloyd's Shield Ring gives you a fuck ton of resistance whenever you're at 99 or 100% health. So anywhere close to full and you'll be taking next to no damage. Now, I slightly dislike this for 2 reasons. If you have a small health bar, it's easy to manage because you're going to be a lot of characters with really small health bars. Whenever they would get taken down from 99, they get put to like 56. But especially with bigger health bars, the way it incentivizes you to constantly be at max HP. If you really don't have a regen build running, you're just using up flasks and draining potential health that you could have had in the first place. And if you're letting yourself go for that long without the buff, why don't you just go for another ring? Number 53, the Fleshbite Ring. This gives you a teensy-weensy little boost to bleed, poison, toxic, frost, and curse. That's amazing! Where do you find it? The Grand Archives, when only curse and frost are there. Where the fuck are you going to use this? Stop giving me cool shit in the Grand Archives! Number 52, the Covetous Gold Serpent Ring. This ring is in the cell that Sigurd's in the Profane Capital. You need the key from the real chest in the sewers to unlock it. It's just sitting off in the corner there. It gives you a flat plus 50 to your item discovery. I'm not gonna try to explain item discovery. I don't really understand it that well. But that should make things that drop 1% of the time drop 1.5% of the time, if I understand item discovery correctly. Which, it's for this ring is for farming. So throw your other farming gear on, like the Crystal Sage Rapier, Symbol of Avarice, and you're good to go, but otherwise, Number 51, the Lightning Stoneplate Ring. Lightning is a very, very underutilized damage type in this game, and guess what? This bitch is found in Archdragon Peak, which, granted, that's probably the place you'll see the most use out of it, seeing as the King of the Storms and the Nameless King are here, but when you really think about it, how many lightning attacks, aside from the Nameless King, are in Archdragon Peak? It's really, really not that many. They're all throughout the earlier portions of the game, where you don't have this fucking ring. I don't know, maybe if you're really having trouble on Soul of Cinder Phase 2, but I can't think of a reason to use this ring otherwise. Coming in at number 50 is Aldrich's Ruby. What makes this 7 places higher than the Sapphire? Well, the effect is for HP, and it restores 80 HP instead of 15. So I guess you can actually see when your health bar goes up? It's a noticeable boost, I guess. With health on kill effects or, other regen items, I guess it could kind of work, but what? If you're good enough to get all these parries, how the fuck are you on 6 HP? If you can consistently get parries, why aren't you just consistently parrying the enemies so you don't lose health? Number 49, the Ring of Sacrifice. Instead of dropping your souls, the ring breaks, and because you don't drop souls, you don't leave behind a bloodstain. This, in my opinion, makes the ring really only suitable for those times when you need to go run and grab your souls through a dangerous area. Put it on beforehand so that if you die, you don't lose that bloodstain that's already on the ground and contains like $7 trillion. But the effect is pretty decent. I mean, when are you gonna equip this? And why aren't you just going to Firelink? Number 48, the Hunter's Ring. So this is at the very top of the Grand Archives, right before you run up the big staircase to go face Lorien. Yeah, it's up by the very last Estus shard of the game. This is the last ring you'll get if you're progressing through the game normally. And it gives you the wild wallopin' bonus of a whole 5 fucking dexterity. My brother in Christ, what do you need that much dex for? You're done with the game. Go grind 5 levels. Number 47, the Ring of the Evil Eye. So you have to get to the Ithriel part of Henri's questline to get a ring that whenever you're wearing it, you get 30 HP whenever you kill an enemy. This effect sucks! You can't even see the difference in health. I bought this shit from a cat in Dark Souls 2. Number 46, the Chillbite Ring, and look at that fucking frost resistance. It gives 160 frost resistance. This is enough for Ariandel, kind of. And I'm pretty sure that's the point, because you get it from Sister Fried. It's relevant for like the Sister Fried boss fight and exploring around Ariandel, but other than that, it's really not that great. Frostbite is few and far between. And honestly, if you really need that much resistance to it, you can put on the Fleshbite Ring. Number 45, Morn's Ring. Morn's Ring increases Damaging Miracles damage by 12%. Do you guys know how many Damaging Miracles there are in the game? There's 8. Counting Dark Miracles. If you don't count Dark Miracles, there's 6. And 3 of them are near the end game. One of them is from the fucking final boss, and the other is from who is considered one of the hardest bosses in the game. You would be better just dumping Faith. There's no point. You have 2 fucking spells. 2 spells that you're gonna increase the damage on? Good fucking luck, dumbass. This may be a controversial pick, but number 44 is the Sun Princess Ring. Listen, man. HP is a commodity in Dark Souls. And even with the symbol of Avarice's brain hemorrhaging 6 HP a second, look at that. Look at how much it kills me, versus with the Sun Princess Ring on. All I'm saying is, health is a very important commodity in Dark Souls. If you run out of it before a bonfire, well, that sucks, you dumb fuck. If only you had an infinite source of HP, wink wink nudge nudge. Just sit on TikTok until you're full HP, wink wink. Wait, why am I wink winking? That's what you should do. Number 43 and number 42 are the Deep Ring and the Saint's Ring, respectively. The Deep Ring is found in a kind of secret area of the Cathedral of the Deep, and the Saint's Ring is available to buy from Arena of Karam. You know, the firekeeper you find in the fucking well at the Undead Settlement? Yeah, that lady. She sells it for a meager 300 souls. That is a spell slot both lying on the ground and costing 300 souls. That is cash money moolah. Especially when you just need like one more attunement slot to fit in that spell you really want, or you didn't realize that spell was 2 attunement slots, you only have 1 free. You know, you can just put on this ring and not have to deal with it. Number 41 is the Curse Bite Ring. The Curse Bite Ring increases your curse resistance by 150, which is really decent, honestly. Slight issue though. Curse is like in the Grand Archives and the 7 places that basilisks are found. I don't know when I would need this. I mean, if you put it on, Curse is made like completely irrelevant instead of pretty much irrelevant, but it's not a game-changing resistance. Number 40 is the Magic Stoneplate Ring. This is Elden Ring, but the Stoneplate Rings are kind of hard to get footage for them. I'm just listing out the fact that it gives you higher damage numbers. And it drops from the Cathedral Knight right outside of Asuras's Fog Gate. So, honestly, you don't really want to kill the enemy because it's a tough enemy. And by that boss, magic has become pretty much obsolete. Like, he's the last big magic boss, aside from maybe the Crystal Sage. So it's kind of bad. Number 39 is the Bloodbite Ring. Dropped by the giant rat in the Undead Settlement sewer. You can find this ring very, very early. And bleed is consistent. Up until like late game, bleed is a pretty consistent status effect that you have to deal with, and the ring gives you a pretty big boost to your bleed bar at 90 flat resistance, which is pretty decent. That allows me to withstand an extra hit before I get blood loss from this guy. Number 38, the Scholar's Ring. Aside from min-maxing your sorcery damage or like unlocking a specific sorcery you can't, there's not much use to this ring found at the tippy top of the Grand Archives. Number 37 is the Dark Stoneplate Ring. And really, what am I supposed to do? Show you guys my fucking stat screen? It's alright. You find it next to Pontiff? If your ass is getting beat by dark damage, put it on, I guess. Number 36 is the Life Ring. This gives you a 7% boost to your HP. This can get noticeable in the late game. Hey, it's really not much, but you can start the game with it. Number 35 is the Silver Cat Ring. This one's pretty simple. You get it from Cirrus's questline, and unless a fall would instantly kill you, you just don't take fall damage. This is alright, but again, Spook is a spell. Number 34 is the Dragon Scale Ring, and it's only up here because it'd be so good in PvP. I don't play PvP very much, but the little I have gone through, backstabs are big. If someone can get the people are trying to get a backstab on you, and if they can, they typically get a very, very substantial leg up in the fight. But like, these hollow assassins are the only real enemies I can think of that do that, and you saw how much damage they did. Number 33 is the Karthus Milk Ring, a +3 to dexterity right in the Catacombs of Karthus? And now technically the invisible rolling is a positive effect in PvP. It just ends up fucking me over more than it does anyone else. But if you're actually good at Dark Souls 3 and can overcome the invisible rolling, you just get a flat +3 to Dex, which, by the time you find this, is pretty substantial. Hunter's Ring. Next is the Karthus Blood Ring, which gives you 2 more iframes, or 4 in 60 FPS. However, this all comes at the cost of -30 to all of your absorptions. This is kind of bad, but let me be fucking real for a second. One of the biggest criticisms against this ring, and it's very, very fair, in fact it's one of the biggest reasons I don't use it, is it teaches you to mistime your dodge roll. It changes your roll. It changes how your roll works. It's going to feel different and you're gonna end up rolling wrong when you take it off. All of these dipshits bitching about the resistance loss are fucking retarded. You're going to get hit so much fucking less, it does not matter. You're going to forget how to play the game is the issue. Number 31, the Fire Stoneplate Ring. Fire is a very, very common affliction. You're going after the Lords of Cinder, for God's sake. Just to name a few, Pontiff, Aldrich, Abyss Watchers, Yorm, Lorien, Old Demon King, Nameless King and Dancer. Hollow Peasants can throw firebombs, so can Hollow Soldiers. These guys at the Cathedral do this. The Deacons throw fireballs. Oh yeah, and you find this ring in the Undead Settlement. Number 30, the Ring of Steel Protection. Now, these aren't the best enemies to show it on, I did kind of fuck up. But this ring boosts your physical defense by 10%. Even in PvP, unlike the Stoneplate rings, this effect does not get diminished in PvP. The issue is, and it's kind of hard to get around, you find it in the Ancient Wyvern Arena, meaning you at least have to be past Osiris, so it's kinda lackluster. But it's probably one of the best protection rings. Number 29, the Priestess Ring. +5 faith, 1,000 souls, and available right after Champion Gundyr. It's not tremendous, but it is decently useful for meeting things like Soothing Sunlight's massive fucking 45 faith requirement. Or, like in the case of the Scholar Ring, min-maxing your fucking faith build, with the 6 damaging miracles in the entire game. So starting at number 28, the Night Ring, it's probably the best blank ring out there in the game, and it's kind of the start of the decent section of rings in this video. It increases your strength by 5, but because you can two-hand your weapon, you can increase this to a +10 in strength, or technically depending on your stat, it could change to be even higher. And, again, it's only in Lothric Castle before Dragon Slayer armor, so you only need to get past Dancer to get to it. Even getting past Dancer in normal progression, 10 strength is a very nice thing to have. That's 10 fucking levels. For the slight downside of not being able to use your Catalyst Shield, whatever the fuck. I don't give a shit, I unga, therefore I bunga. Number 28, the Farron Ring. This ring reduces the FP cost of every weapon art in the game by 25%. This takes normally massively expensive things like Wolnir's 30 FP cost down to 22. I think it would actually be 23, I think it'd round up. But still, if you're using a lot of weapon arts, that's a pretty substantial takeaway. That will conserve FP for a decent amount. I mean, you can see right there, the bonus is noticeable. Number 27, the Great Swamp Ring. This stacks with other pyromancy boosting rings, but it's going to be slightly lower than the sorcery boosting rings, because I typically see pyromancy as more of a mixed caster class, where sorcerers are more likely to be full caster. This effectively means sorcerers get a larger bonus out of putting the Dragon Crest rings on than they would have putting on a broader bonus like the Red Tearstone ring. 32% sorcery damage increase is bigger than a 20% AR increase. But since pyromancers are also using a hand axe, they might want to use a broader damage increase. Speaking of sorcery, number 25, the Young Dragon Crest ring. It's the Great Swamp Ring for sorceries. 12.5, sorcerer starting class starts with it. And honestly, if you're seriously going for sorceries, you can't avoid it. Give 1 scroll and buy any 3 spells from Orbeck and he'll hand one to you like it's fucking garbage. It is probably the sorcerer equivalent of one of those like trash rings you get out of a cereal box when you were fucking 7. Hey look, number 24 is another magic boosting ring, the Ring of the Sun's Firstborn. This increases miracle damage by 20%. Yeah, the 20% miracle bonus is down here with the 12.5 rest of them because, well, again, there's fucking 3 of them. I'm so fucking tired of this bullshit. Number 23, the Ashen Estus Ring. Homeboy, you are in the untended graves. If your FP bar cannot be filled with 1 flask, it might just be too big. But, you know what? That's a big FP bar. And I respect it. Fill it right up. 77 casts of fucking Soul Stream. I don't give a goddamn. Alright, so these next 4 are going to be over Elden Ring because I really don't care about them. Number 22 is the Magic Clutch Ring. Number 21 is the Lightning Clutch Ring. Number 20 is the Dark Clutch Ring. And number 19 is the Fire Clutch Ring. I ordered these in how much I think their respective damage type matters and how far into the game you find them. If you're dealing lightning damage, you really don't need to be dealing 15% more. You're good, man. What are you dealing magic damage with that's not a sorcery? Why are you taking extra damage to deal more damage with sorceries? You have the Dragon Crest rings. Dark damage is decent, and you only have to kill a mimic for it. But you also have to fight a bunch of basilisks if you wake the mimic up. So, and it's dark damage. When do you need to deal 15% more dark damage? And again, if you're a pyromancer who wants the 15% fire damage, good for you. It's in the Undead Settlement pretty much as soon as you start the game. But again, if you're really fiending for that, put on your goddamn rings, you fucking nerd. Number 18, the Dark Moon Ring. Okay, it's only 10 proofs. That's only 8 invasions for 2 attunement slots. That is fucking ridiculous. That is the difference between just not or having Chaos Bed Vestiges. Number 17, Pontiff's Left Eye. To get this, you only have to kill Greatwood, and forego the extra 2,000 souls for Vort's Soul gives you, but that's pocket change, especially towards the late game. So this is the same amount of restoration as the Evil Eye Ring, but you don't have to kill the enemy. And slower hitting weapons like Great Swords only require 1 or 2 hits to proc the effect, while daggers and shit take 2 to 3. Also, it's kind of broken, and you can just, with fast enough hitting weapons like the Sellsword Twin Blades, you can do that. Number 16, the Lingering Dragon Crest Ring. This motherfucker is available in Farron Keep, and it extends all buff spells by 30%. That's a third of that, almost a third of their duration. That's fucking ridiculous. Now, I'm not gonna wait here for the fucking 8 minutes for these buffs to wear off, but they will last for several minutes. They'll go from lasting almost an entire boss fight to long after. If your buffs are wearing off mid-fight, throw this bitch on and you'll never deal with it. Number 15 is the Leo Ring. You just have to get halfway through Ithriel and this bitch is in a chest. And if you're using anything that deals thrust damage, God help whatever is trying to attack you. This boosts the counter damage percent to about 50, so you deal an extra half of your damage bonus whenever an enemy is trying to attack you. And that's almost all the time. Whenever you can get a good poke off with your spear, it does tremendous damage. It's not doing tremendous damage here because this is a +0 spear, but there's a lot of fucking potential there. Number 14, the Dusk Crown Ring. This ring takes away 15% of your HP. In return, your spells take 15% less FP to cast. This is a substantial margin. This gets me an extra cast of my 600 damage pyromancy. Just because. Dude, seriously, it should be a higher health penalty. Not the fucking half we had in Dark Souls, but this is not enough of a health drain to justify how good this ring's effect is. Number 13, the Chloranthy Ring. An extra 7 stamina per second, and you find it right after you first meet Sigurd in the Undead Settlement. This is slightly less than the Grasscrest Shield, but it also doesn't weigh 7 pounds. Unless you really have 4 rings that already are working towards your build, you should probably consider putting this on. You'd be surprised how much that extra stamina recovery really comes in handy. There are so many situations where you go, oh fuck, shit, I could deal with a little bit more stamina here, guys. And this ring just gives it to you. Number 12 is Pontiff's Right Eye. I love this ring. Whatever counts as consecutive hits for the Pontiff's left eye, it's actually slightly less for this one for some reason, grants you a significant damage boost. It can go up to 7.5. And you get it almost as soon as you enter Ithriel. The dog that spawns in on the bridge drops this ring. And hell, if you don't kill the dog on the bridge, this ring is the only ring in the game that tries to collect you. Number 11 is the Hornet Ring. Okay, so listen here. If you're playing PvP, this is tremendous. And it's also pretty tremendous against the few bosses that can get parried. I say few, there's like 7 of them. It massively boosts your critical damage, but most normal enemies aren't going to be able to stand up to more than one parry. Number 10, the Old Witch's Ring. You find it right next to the Smoldering Lake, and it's a 20% boost to pyromancies. It turns your nukes into bigger nukes. I don't know what to tell you. Same with the Bellowing Dragoncrest Ring, honestly. You find it in your first shortcut in the Ithriel dungeon, and it's just a really, really good boost. Oh, sorry, yeah, I forgot to say the thing. Number 9 is the Bellowing Dragoncrest Ring. Coming in at number 8 is the Lloyd Sword Ring. This has the same effect condition as the Shield Ring. You have to be at 99 or above health, but this one gives you a 10% boost to your attack. And as you can see, it stacks with other damage buffs. And you can tell the difference. You can see the difference. But again, it kind of gets you in that Lloyd Sword Ring style where you keep popping your flask just to be doing more damage. And if you have a small enough health bar that one flask typically tops you off, this should probably be a ring you consider using. But hell, if you're not getting hit, I mean, there's a few other rings that can help you out. But 10% is absolutely nothing to scoff at. Number 7 is the Prisoner's Chainlink. This is obtainable from killing Champion Gundyr, and it raises your Vigor, Endurance, and Vitality by 5 points each, while making you take a decent amount more damage. Dark Souls 3's health soft cap is around 1000 at like 25 Vigor. You don't get stamina for pushing your Endurance past 40. Only the Vitality effect of this ring will be felt in the late game. And my brother in Christ, you're at Champion Gundyr. You're pretty late in the game. Number 6 is the Estus Ring. This ring increases the amount healed by your Estus Flask. And now technically it does cost 20,000 souls to unlock, but when your health bar is massive, that extra HP really, really helps out. If you were to, like me, always have around 10 Estus Flasks on you, that's 1200 HP if you use all of your flasks, which is fucking wacky. Dude, that much extra health for one ring. This is the casting speed of 20 dex. Now, with number 5, the Sage Ring, we now have the highest casting speed you can get in the game. Now, dexterity is the stat that affects your casting speed. 50 is max, 1 is minimum. This ring raises your dexterity by 30. Technically, it's virtual dexterity, which means it only counts for casting spells. But hell, that means you only need 20 dexterity to get to the maximum spellcasting speed. You have saved yourself 30 levels by putting on a singular ring that you find in Farid Keep. Now again, we're only ranking the base versions, and maybe I should have given this little add-on to the Wolf Ring. The +2 Sage Ring grants 40 dexterity, allowing any starting class to get maximum cast speed. Ridiculous. Do you think I'm over encumbered? Nope. And that's all because of one ring, baby. Number 4, Havel's Ring. Now, while it sadly doesn't boost your equip load to several billion like it did in Dark Souls 1, it does increase it by 15%. I'm pretty sure all the shit I got on now is some of the heaviest equipment you can get in the game. And it takes me from completely over encumbered to fat rolling, which is really, really funny. And also, this ring is available in Farron Keep. You only have to kill the Stray Demon. Sadly, that kind of makes this ring come at a cost of not getting 20,000 souls, but it is definitely worth it. It's a big enough percentage that you see the effect even when your vitality's low, but it's also a percentage, so you're going to see it a lot more when your vitality's higher. It's just good to keep around. It's just good to keep around, just in case you wanna, oh shit, that puts me a little bit over, I wanna go back under. Alright, here comes the top 3. Starting us out at number 3 is the covetous Silver Serpent Ring. You can pick this ring up as soon as you get to Firelink. It weighs about a pound, but it increases the amount of souls gained by 10%, and this stacks with any other soul boost in the game. If you don't have it on while exploring because you want a 4th ring slot for your build, I understand. And that's okay. It's still number 3, because if you aren't putting it on after you kill a boss or something, to take advantage of the window you have to boost the souls you get, you're actually a fucking idiot. Like, why would you do that? Hey, so I heard you like damage. Number 2, the Red Tearstone Ring. This ring is like 20 feet away from the Night Ring and easier to get to. Once you have the Dragon Slayer shortcut unlocked, there's no enemies between you and that cathedral that it's in. The Red Tearstone Ring boosts your attack by 20% whenever you're under 20% health. This stacks with every other damage increase in the game, every last one. And 20% is a monumentous increase. Do you want to see a light attack that does around 700 damage? Okay, so let me let you know a little secret that makes this even better. There's a second item called the Morian Blade. Exact same effect, and it stacks with the Red Tearstone Ring, so it's just better. Alright, it's the moment you've all been waiting for. We're at the end of the list. The best ring in Dark Souls 3. Coming in at number 1 is the Ring of Favor. Woo, look at that bitch. So, the Ring of Favor gives small percentage boosts to your health, your stamina, and your equip load. It ends up only being slightly smaller of a boost to equip load than the Prisoner's Chain. Its health boost is always going to be less, but especially in the late game, when Prisoner's Chain Link stops working for stamina when you hit the endurance cap, the Ring of Favor is I think the only way in the game you could gain extra stamina. You've really got to squint to kind of notice the health boost sometimes. But with the other 2 effects, the health is just extra health for putting on this ring, which is always great. Plus, it can make the difference between over-encumbered and heavy rolling in a lot of fucking situations. This is so much weight! And it's all taken away because of the Ring of Favor! I mean, it's not all taken away. And I know I'm only talking about the base versions of the ring, but just let me have my fun. It's probably one of my favorite rings. Putting on the Ring of Favor plus 3 is almost always a benefit to your equip load. The percentage gets smaller. The percentage of equip load that you use actually gets smaller when you put this ring on. Here's me fighting dipshit with only the Ring of Favor on. You can see it carries some fucking weight. The boss isn't exactly difficult, but the bonuses are noticeable, and they're very, very nice. And it's not that hard to get it. It's only past Sullivan. And it works for far too many different things to put it lower. Oh, also, you can't fat finger and fucking destroy it in this game anymore. Oh my god, really? Oh, thanks Dark Souls Remastered. Ooh, gosh, ladies and gentlemen, I just said ring more times than I think I have in my entire life. Oh my god. It was a fun time though, and I hope you guys liked it almost as much as I did. I hope nobody holds any real contention with what I've said here. I think these takes have been pretty good. And if you're new to the game, I hope this helps you out in your ring selection. If you hold contention with anything on this list, feel free to call me a dumbass in the comments. But really, I think we're done here. All 71 rings in Dark Souls 3 ranked. That was a bit of a chore. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye!